Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Yahoo here with vkissanalog.com. Guys, we have a scope we're going to pull out of this box. I'm going to show you a really cool scope, I think. It's another 12-bit scope. Now, I just did a box opening of this Micsig scope, Generation 4. This is our 8-bit scope, okay? So now, I'm going to show you 12-bit. Let's get out of the box. It's double box. See this big box? Then you got this little small box in there. So it's packaged really well. That's the point of this. We're going to pull it out of here. I'm going to just show you what's inside this thing. And yeah, let's come over here to the bench. Take a look at the contents. Okay. Then we're going to power it up. I'm going to show you why this scope is so cool. All right, guys. So we got the MHO14-200. So this is the 200 meg. That's going to be scope probes and so on. Let's pull the scope out of here. All right, so we got the calibration certificate, okay? We have the heavy, dense polyfoam protecting it. And we get, this is a quick guide collection. They got a whole bunch of stuff in here about all their probes and so on. And then this is nicely wrapped. Let's pull it out of here. All right, guys, let's check out the probes first, see what's in the box. We got a power supply, of course. Some multimeter probes. Okay, that's interesting. And we've got probes. Okay, there's 2 probes there. Okay, that's, wow. Okay, we got a little Wi-Fi adapter. All right. And then 2 more probes. Good, we got 4 probes. But you know what? I didn't realize I got the multimeter model. So I guess we did. So there we go. That's multimeter input. And notice the inputs are on the front instead of on the top. And instead, we have a carry handle on top. Okay. So, you know, now I guess you'd hold it like this with the handle instead of the handle on the side. So that way you can rest it on your arm, I guess. It is fairly heavy. Okay, there's our ports right here on the back side. There's a hard power on switch. So you can make sure it doesn't accidentally get turned on when it's in your briefcase. So you can turn that off and it's hard to access that. And then you got your compensation, Ethernet, USB, USB-C, and look at that, HDMI. And these legs on these, okay, let me see if it works the same as the other one. Yeah, it does. There's a little bar that slides down there that locks in place so it doesn't slide around. So I really like these legs on these Micsig scopes. There's our little fan. These things, the other ones I've had, are really quiet. So I'm hoping this is just as quiet. So there we go. The MHO 14-200. I think there's supposed to be a letter on the end of that for the multimeter function. So that's why I didn't think I was getting that. All right. And then also I want to point out this is where the fuse is for the multimeter. So it's 10 amp fuse. So yeah, that's if you're going to run current, do some current measurements, because you can do so. You've got your 10 amp, your milliamp, and that's pretty nice. I don't know if I'll be reading current through that, but it's nice to have the option. So this meter does not cost that much more. So I think you may as well get it when you get the thing. It's nice. I believe it's a 60,000 count multimeter. Okay, the leads look like they're 18 gauge and they look pretty nice. That's a nice little input jack. And we got our protective covers. So yeah, they feel soft. This part's kind of just rubbery. Okay, so, all right, guys. And then this Wi-Fi adapter, that's interesting. The other scopes, I believe, came built in. So it's 2.4 or 5 gigahertz.
650 megabits per second.
All right, we'll test that when we do the full review. All right, so the scope probes are P130As, 200 meg bandwidth. There's the bandwidth curve. So I've always found Micsig probes to be very nice. There's the BNC side. I mean, very solid built probes. So no problem there. These are just times 10. There's not a switch for the times 1 times 10. All right, when you push that in there, you have to get something small to push it in there, and then it depresses and stays put in. So that's a mechanical switch. Let's swing this around and hit the power button. Now, you have to hold these things down to turn them on and turn them off, I'm sure, just because you don't want that accidental depress, to turn them on and so on. Now, this looks like the same user interface so far as the SATO automotive scope, the 8-bit scope I just reviewed. And the thing with, okay, yep, there's our tablet stuff. There's our 12-bit notification. So there's going to be some differences with the 12-bit. And we take these off to show you the BNCs. Wow. Now, guys, this screen is super bright. Okay, this screen is a 1280 by 800 instead of the 800 by 600. 8-inch screen, they call it. Pretty darn nice. I mean, it's a big screen. There's a 7-inch screen back there, and here's the 8-inch. And it's also not the same wide format as the typical 8-inch screen, which that screen is right there. All right, guys, that's a comparison to a 7-inch screen, okay? Now, you can see the border, the black part makes the screen look a little bit larger than what it really is, but you can see the lit up portion. So, big screen, and we can put it in scope mode. Choose the application, so there we go. All right, guys, and that's what it looks like compared to an 8-inch screen that's kind of the wide format. So I like this more square format that's on this Micsig, don't you? All right, guys, let's take a quick look. You got your vertical channels here. Now this thing has the larger buttons versus the smaller buttons that this one has. Okay, otherwise the setup is very similar. The layout. There is differences, but it's very similar. So you got your channels here. You can turn them on and off. Okay. And when you have them on, you can always grab this thing, pull it over, and look at all the setup menus you have. Pretty sweet. All right, guys. And this is your trigger level right here. You can see that moving up and down and see it giving you a readout. Okay. And you also have your trigger right here that you can move it up and down with this guy. And then they're all push to click as well. So you can center it that way. It's centered on the green trace and it's green for the green. So that's okay. And then I push the arrow up and it goes to a purple one and it changes color. I really think that's cool. So you know which channel you're triggering on. Look, there's yellow one. So I'll push to click and it centers it. So I really like that feature. That makes it real easy to know which channel you're triggering on. So you got your fine tune here, whatever you're selecting. Let's say you're selecting a voltage. You can sit here and select it this way. You can pull it out and change it. But you can use the up and down arrows here to change that. It says 10x full bandwidth. So, okay, this is your horizontal. Your horizontal is right here. So you got the controls right here on screen too. Again, I'll push to click so it centers the trigger right there. So we got our vertical, our trigger, horizontal, and then this is your universal knobs. All right, guys, then up here you have your select knobs. This is select 1, okay, and this is select 2. So you've got your menu button, all your different trigger formats. This thing comes with a whole bunch of digital triggers as well. So you can go to trigger and you can say edge, pulse, logic. You can do, there's just so many different trigger options on this thing. It's crazy. You got your video trigger. You got your UART, like UART S1, S2. All right, and then here's your auto setup, auto scale, auto channel. So I'm just going to run through your multimeter setup here, user input. And, up here it says I'm triggering on my S2 UART start bit. So I'd have to go back to trigger to do that. And instead of hitting the menu there, I can pull it down here and do it from here. And I can just go back to edge. There's a comment for a hold off and so on. I mean, it would take us a while to go through all the menus. So I'm just trying to show you some of the quick things. But here's our scope DMM button. And look, you go right back to your DMM. Let's go back to our scope, hit the screen, do the math, and we can pull this out and we can choose FFT. And there's your FFT. Really nice FFT on these things. Oh, it says battery is low, connect to adapter. Well, I'm supposed to charge this before I start operating it, I guess. So we should do that. But yeah, I think that gives you a good idea of what it looks like. And then the home button takes you back to notebook function where you have a gallery if you've got any pictures saved, which we haven't done any of that stuff. So we'll go back to this. We got a calculator. And one thing that's really cool, I think, is this window here where you can do all these different things. You can input your numbers and it'll do the math for you. I think it's just really handy. Just going quick, guys. And you got another window here. You got a calendar. Wow. Okay, so that's some of your file utilities to save CSV files and so on. You have your clock built in, of course. And we can go to multimeter from this section as well. And just pretty cool display, don't you think, guys? And plus you get a graph as well. We go back to our scope function. And I need to charge this battery. Okay, guys, in the save menu, local storage, you have 32 gig. So that's quite a bit. And you got all these formats you can save. This is your save menu, your sample menu. You can put an auto. You get 110 mega points per channel, or 55 for 2 channels, or 27.5 for 3 or more. So that is just crazy. And you get 1 gig samples per second with 1 channel, or 500 for 2 channels, or 250 mega samples for 3 or 4 channels. So yeah, very capable oscilloscope. 12-bit scopes, here we come. And just give you an idea of the screen, that's 800 by 600, and that's your 1280 by 800. The battery size in this one is 16,000 milliamp hours, so 16 amp hours. And in this one, it's 7,500 amp hours, or 7.5 amp hours. So yeah, bigger battery. You can see it's just a little bit shorter and just a little bit thinner. All right, guys, so what do you think? I think Micsig has done a really great job with these tablet type scopes. So I really like using them. I like the screen size. I think the price is good too. So I think they've just done such a nice job. The controls, they've changed them on this MHO, this 12-bit. What do you think of that? I think some people, when they went to these controls, they might have got some complaints how small they were. I saw some comments on my channel. So I think people are going to gravitate towards that, especially being 12-bit. Although this is, for an automotive scope, this is an amazing scope with all the automatic inputs. But this thing here, guys, the battery is almost, well, it's a little bit more than twice the size of the battery that's in this one. And the screen, instead of being 800 by 600, is 1280 by 800. So that's crazy. It's a little bit smaller than this one. You can see that. A little bit shorter. It's a little bit narrower, not quite as deep. And I think that might be why they moved the controls on the front and on the back instead of on the side over here and the top, because making it a little bit smaller, more compact. Now this is rubberized around the edges, okay? This one has the big rubberized corners on it, so there's little differences there. But this screen does, I mean, just looking like this, I thought this was a really nice screen, but I can see the details more just in the text and so on. This does look like a sharper screen. So I'm going to do full videos on both of these scopes. I'm going to do some automotive stuff on this one as we go down the road. And I'm going to show this scope. So what do you guys think of the screen size? 8-inch of this versus that 8-inch. With the Windows format, with the buttons across the top and across the bottom, it uses that vertical space. So I'm glad they go to a more square screen. I think that's why it seems so much larger to me. I mean, when they say 8-inch, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, really? That's 8-inch? Because that's 8-inch and this seems bigger. All right, guys, 2 thumbs up to Micsig for sending this out for free for me to review. That's very nice of them. And 2 thumbs up for my YouTube members and my patrons. Appreciate you guys. Leave your comments down below what scope you like. I mean, now, if it's automotive, they do have an automotive version of this, okay? And it's kind of funny. Looks like my last name. But anyway, the multimeter, it doesn't cost that much more. I think it goes for $719 without and $759 with. Now, this is a 200 meg scope, so I believe you get the 100 meg, save a little money there. I think the 100 meg without the meter, it might be like around $575, I think. So, I mean, the price of these 12-bit scopes, and with the screen resolution and the touch screens on these Micsigs, I've always liked. I came from using Tektronix big screens, and a lot of their boxes are really small. You have the touch. I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan, and that was probably my first touchscreen scope I've used. But then I got a Micsig. I bought my first one, and man, I really liked it a lot. And so now I've got some more Micsigs. Thanks, Micsig. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the full review. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.